But let's stick. We've been talking a lot of NBA, Rob. Let's go to the NFL. And Chris Sims made a strong statement. You talk about hot takes. We were talking about that with J.J. Redick for ripping Doc Rivers, his former coach. But Chris Sims had some words for Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. Here's Sims on a podcast out in Phoenix. Here's what he said.
Jalen Hurts I respect a lot about Jalen Hurts, but I think Jalen Hurts is also like the most overrated player in football. All right, that's me. I know I'm wrong. I take a lot of crap about that comment, but he plays quarterback for a team that's an all-star team. They have the best O-line in football. It's not even close. Maybe the best duos at receiver in all of football. Just think if you put some other quarterbacks in Philly, you put Kyler Murray there, you'd go, damn, Kyler's amazing. Is he the MVP of football? And I think we lose sight of all of that a little bit. Again, it gets into the quarterback team thing where right now we're all about the quarterback. And, he'd be one of those guys that I certainly would go, hey, when Kyler's on his game, he is every bit in the class of Jalen Hurts.
Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
You go, Chris. You go. I don't.
The rundown has that you got to take.
Oh.
So go ahead.
I
thought you wanted to rant. I thought music might be coming.
No music is coming. but I just, the most overrated, absolute.
That's a heck of a statement.
Huh?
That's a heck of a statement.
That's what I'm saying. Chris is not that he can't point out stuff. When people say that about Brock Purdy, right? We're haters on Brock Purdy, right? Like he's got all these weapons, whatever. But I don't. Why wouldn't he call Brock Purdy the most overrated quarterback ever? To say that Jalen Hurts is that, I just think is extreme. When I could say, I would be more impressed by Chris Sims if he said, Trevor Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback that we've seen. That's the guy, Chris, who came out of college as a can't miss. And he's Peyton Manning. And he's Andrew Luck. Right. And he does all this. Jalen Hurts came out of college after he was demoralized at Alabama and lost his starting quarterback job and had to go elsewhere to regain his dignity and his play, Chris. That could be demoralizing to a guy.
Right.
And he wasn't that great in Philadelphia. We know that. We talked about it. Okay? And there were questions. But if you look at that guy and you can't see where he's improved and gotten better, Chris, I said before the year, I didn't think he could duplicate what he did. Didn't I not say that, Chris? I said it. Not because I don't think he can't play. I just thought last year was unbelievable at how well he played when just a year before people were questioning whether he could even complete passes, enough to be a quarterback in the NFL. But Trevor Lawrence, who came with all the bells and the whistles, and he's got the height, Chris, and all the other stuff that they love in the arm, where's that? That, to me, is the most overrated quarterback if you want to go down that road. The Jalen Hurts is the most overrated quarterback. I just think that's out of pocket. I don't know any kind of backstory. Maybe there is no backstory, and it's just Chris Sims' opinion, which is fine because this is what we're in, the opinion business. But I think he's way off to call him the most overrated. Is he the most overrated in the NFL?
Look, Jalen Hurts is coming off a down year. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He had a tremendous year, as you said, Rob, last season when he led them to the Super Bowl.
And
they didn't win it, but he played. He was great in the Super Bowl. He was down this year, and he's got to prove that he is the guy from 2022 and not the guy from 2023. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Rob played more games, 2 more games in 2023, played every game, and only had 1 more touchdown pass than 2022, 23. And 23 ain't very good. Had almost 3 times as many interceptions Only threw 6 in 2022, threw 15 last year. And passer rating way down. So when you play that way, Rob, you're going to get criticized. And so, we'll see. He has to come back this year and prove that he is the guy that he was 2 years ago. And I think he can, because I think his character is tremendous. I think his work ethic is tremendous. And I'm surprised, Rob, that he hasn't gone to get some type of surgery. Because I did think his knee was bothering him.
At the end of the year, didn't they?
It seemed like most of the year, not just the end, most of the year, it seemed like he was playing on a bad knee. So hopefully whatever it is, I hope that gets taken care of in the regular season. Now, I do tend to agree with you. At this very moment, Trevor Lawrence, we'll see what he becomes. But at this very moment, yeah, you would have to say he's far more overrated than Jalen Hurts.
No doubt about it.
Because Jalen Hurts has made 2 Pro. Now, granted, he's played 1 more year than Trevor, but we know he didn't start right away, Jalen. But he's made 2 Pro Bowls. Trevor's made 1. And Jalen led his team to the Super Bowl. He does have more help. There's no doubt about it. Had the best offensive line in football, has had good running backs, and great. The two, arguably the best tandem of receivers in the league. And Dallas Goedert is a good tight end when he's healthy. But Trevor Lawrence has not lived up to the billing. And I know he was banged up a bit this year, but his numbers were basically the same as Jalen's this season. But Jalen was a second-round pick. Trevor was a number 1 pick. Trevor was the best prospect since Andrew Luck, right?
That's what we kept.
So I'll give you that.
Oh my God, he's Andrew Luck. Oh, he has a chance to be Peyton Manning. All I ever heard was he's a can't miss, Chris. That's all I heard about him.
Right. And that's so I would tend to agree with you on Trevor being more overrated than Jalen. And I really like this guy, Justin Herbert. But it's time for Justin Herbert to do something, right?
Chris, we said it. He was downgraded this year. You remember 2 years ago they had him ahead of Patrick Mahomes as a top 5 quarterback.
Right,
he was downgraded. All of the fourth quarter interceptions, all the other stuff. He was a tier 2. He's not a tier 1. I don't care how big and strong he looks. I don't care how big his arm is, Chris. He's a tier 2 quarterback.
Right now he is.
He is. Until further notice.
Right. I expect Harbaugh, who's been somewhat of a quarterback whisperer,
he might get him straightened out. Right?
Yeah, get him straightened out. And he's had nice, up until last year, and we know last year, of course, he got hurt, but he's had great individual numbers. But you've also had talent. And Rob, I know, you know, because we were lockstep on this. He was handicapped by his coach.
We said it.
Staley.
Brandon Staley cost him so many games, yes. Chris. We talked about it.
No doubt. But last year, and again, Staley was there for, last season. And but Justin Herbert he's got something to prove too. So to your point, Rob, he might be more overrated than Jalen. And I think, Rob, what we've seen, look, I think you got Patrick Mahomes, to me, Rob's on the level by himself. And then you've got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. And C.J. Stroud's only done it 1 year, so he may get to that group, but I think it's too soon to say definitively. But you got those 3. And then, Rob, 4 through 10 or even 12, that's going to fluctuate year to year. 1 year might be Jalen. We'll see if some of these guys can get out of this tier, right? If they do it consistently.
Yeah, you could
but
fall.
Trevor, Jalen, Dak, Dak was second in MVP this year. Brock Purdy's 4th. Those guys are gonna fluctuate year to year in that 4 to 12 range. But those top guys are set. We'll see if CJ Stroud, like I said, can hop up in there. But Yeah, Jalen, look, right, Jalen does have to be better. And like you said, you didn't expect as good of a year from him this season, and you were right.
Not
and
that I
they had
don't
a
think he
lot
can't
going on.
play.
I don't know what
Right.
the heck it was.
I just thought, Chris, boy, could he duplicate that? Like, that was out of nowhere. That was out of nowhere.
I think a big question, right? And I think personally, I'm obviously from afar, that Jalen Hurts is a great leader. But there were articles written in Philly about, is he too stoic? You know, is he to himself a little too much? And he may need to grow in that. I think he's got it in him, Rob, you know, because he's clearly his own man. I don't think he's afraid to say what needs to be said. And he may be a step he's got to take. You know, maybe he needed to say some stuff and do some stuff during that swoon that they had at the end of the year. Now it's easy to say now because, Rob, to be honest, we were saying Patrick Mahomes needs to say something.
Right. When it was getting
about
right.
those receivers, right? You need to tell those boys to hold on to the football. And his approach, at least from what we saw publicly, was to keep the faith in them, keep throwing to them, keep supporting them, keep taking the blame himself. And in the end, it worked out and they did catch the football. So, you know, this could be wrong, but I think, Rob, we want to see, like, I'm not really worried personally about Jalen's game. I just think for whatever reason, this was a bad year for all those boys in Philly for the most part. I want to see like how he leads this team and does he mature in that or grow in that department, I should say. So